I did say the next time I fill, I'm gonna have cameras going just in case anything goes wrong with this compressor. I'm telling you, when those burst discs go, that scares the absolute shit out of you. All right, let's fill some tanks today. We got my Paintball 68 cubic inch 4500 PSI tank. We got my air gun 98 cubic foot. And then we have this 74 cubic foot for the air guns as well. And I'm gonna be timing these and see how fast they go. All right, let's do it. So here's the fill line from the compressor going into the alpha filter, mounted vertically. This gets filled first, and then it's gonna reach a threshold and then pump filtered air through that line. All right, so to fill the Paintball air tanks, all I have to do is just take the fill line and just hook it up. You're not filling a scuba. This only has a one-way valve, not a turn valve, so you're good to go after this point. Once this thing reaches that much PSI, then the valve's gonna open up and start filling the bottle. Otherwise, it's just gonna be air in the fill line until then. All right, so the tank is hooked up. We're gonna turn on the cooling system. And then we're just gonna turn the compressor on. Let's see how long this takes. I have the stopwatch ready. Do I hate the Air Venturi compressor? No. I just hate the customer service. And the principle. It's the principle of the matter. Don't tell me something doesn't need to be in place when you forget it. I don't know how they forget to install a filter from the factory and then tell me they don't need filters while simultaneously releasing a new product with an advanced filter that they claim you don't need. So we're about 2 minutes in, and this thing's almost done. It fills paintball cylinders pretty fast. It's crazy. These big scuba tanks for air guns take, initially they take a good amount of time, but once you get them to the 3,000 mark, which is where you refill pretty much, getting from 3,000 to I fill the 4,200, it takes like 10-15 minutes. It's not too bad. All right, tank is filled. Compressor shut off on its own. Let me show you how you disconnect everything. Took less than 6 minutes. All right. So on my second filter, we're just gonna open this slightly. There's one bleed valve that's low. There's one that's up here too. But this one we're gonna bleed first, just slightly. Then we're gonna take this one and finish it off. All right, so the line is dry now. I can take my tank off once I open up this other bleeder, because this one is separate from the rest. If you have paintball tanks, you need this installed, or else you're never going to be able to take that tank off because it's going to have pressure in the line. If you're filling scuba tanks, you technically don't need this because the scuba tank's going to have its own bleed valve on it. But if you're filling paintball, you're kind of screwed if you don't have this. And that's that. I can just take my tank right off, and we're good to go. We're at, let's see, just over 4,000. I cut mine off at 4,200 just to give the compressor a break. Because if they're afraid using their stock filter is putting too much workload on the compressor, I don't know. All right, so I just finished filling the air tank for the paintball guns. I'm gonna give the compressor a 10-15 minute break just for the sake of it, and then we'll move to the PCP 74 cubic foot tank. This is actually the first time I'm filling this one. As I received it, I had to send it out to get hydro tested, and I just actually got it back this week, so now this thing's finally getting filled. And then after that, I gotta fill my 98 cubic foot. All right, so this tank here has air in it. And with these scuba tanks, once you have air in it, you have to equalize pressure when you're filling. So what does that mean? Right now, we just got to get our little deadhead. See how much pressure is in the tank, if I can find the damn thing. All right, so we got the deadhead. We're just gonna put this in the tank line. Make sure it clips in. All right, let's turn this and see how much we have. Should be about 180 bar. Make sure that's closed. Now, when I'm filling, I have to hit this pressure first before I open this valve. And you also have to make sure that this bleed valve's closed, or else you're just gonna fill this line and then it's gonna go right out. All right, so we got the pressure tested in the tank, so now we gotta close the valve, bleed the valve. Now I can undo the deadhead. That can go away. And then here's the line from my filter. So obviously that doesn't work. So we just get this little adapter. Make sure these click in 100%. You do not want these not to click in. That would be bad. Okay, so we're gonna fill, or start to fill. The compressor is gonna go to up to 180 bar, and then I'm gonna open the valve on the physical tank. Okay, so I'm gonna sit here and just put this camera on the gauge so you can see it fill up. Once it gets to that 180 bar mark, or relatively close to it, then you're gonna see me open the valve up. Now it's no different than the paintball tank. That's just gonna fill, turn off. I'm gonna monitor the compressor and make sure everything's good to go. And then I'll show you what we do differently once we get there. I'm filling the tanks. I'm like, all right, my freezer's down here. I'll have a popsicle or something. All right, Outshine, you got some fucking splaining to do. This thing isn't even open and it's empty. It's sealed. I got a sealed wrapper. There's some of my paintball stuff while that thing's filling. It's at my 98, 785, Dye DM3 Matrix, E-Tech Ego 3, Empire Resurrection Autococker, and the Nova. I think it's pretty cool. It has a reciprocating barrel. Then down here we have a MacDev Cyborg 07, 2 Die Rise CZRs, DM14 from Die, and then the Bob Long Intimidator Tiffany Blue. This thing's pretty cool. Some airsoft stuff. And my old B-Man. That thing's like probably older than a lot of people. Alright, I just cut it a little early because that thing hit, the temp hit 65C. I just don't want it to go past that. I'm trying to baby this compressor. It made it to 4,000 PSI, which this thing was a little under 3,000, so usually I fill from 3,000 to 4,200. So, it's pretty much there. So what's different? What's different this time around for the scuba tank versus the paintball? Let me just turn this off. Alright, so the only real big difference you have to do first is just close the valve, or else if you bleed everything else, you're just bleeding your tank out. So, close the valve. Alright, valve is closed. And same thing again, we gotta slightly bleed the filter first, then drain from the compressor. So let's do that. Did we get any yummy stuff this time? See, this towel is so much cleaner than my other compressors. The two that really shit out. The other ones would have been like, it would have just been pissing oil. They were completely saturated. They'd be covered in oil. These things are just mostly a little bit of moisture, little tiny bit of oil. Not like the other one. All right, so just got to bleed this last valve. And now all the air is out of line leading up to that tank. So we can take the tank off now. Close the rest of these bleeders for next time. Alright, so let's do the 98 cubic foot tank. But first we're going to do the deadhead again on this one too. So let's check that out. Okay, so once again, Foster fitting with the Foster deadhead. Make sure it clicks in. It clicked in. We're just going to turn the valve again. Let's see what it goes to. Make sure this is closed. So we're at 3,300 PSI. And then we just have to reach that and top it off to 4,200 and we're good to go. Just gonna let this compressor cool off a little bit more. Alright. Close the valve. Valve is closed. Slowly bleed this. And now we bleed this. All right. That's all my tanks filled. Granted, I did cut them a little short because this compressor just kind of scares the shit out of me. I don't want to push my luck on it. Babying the thing as much as possible because it is a big baby.